Hi, welcome to the Gamesplainer. I'm Jeff the Gamesplainer and today I'm Gamesplaining Vinhos 2016 edition. In Vinhos, every player is a winery owner, or a vineyard owner should I say, along the Portuguese coast. At the start of the game, you'll select one of the regions to start in. So for example, yellow might select that. You don't pay the cost. This is the cost for when you purchase them later. I'll talk about that in a moment. And then you take the bonus. So in this case, with the one I just grabbed, the bonus is one of these farmers. You'll then add your token to that region so you can easily see that you have a winery in that region, and you add a renown to the region as well, which you'll be able to use later, and I'll explain that as we go further in. Now you will also produce a wine of the value 2. This brown guy gives me an extra one, so it's actually value 3. I'll go through that a little bit further in further detail later on, but I need to have a wine to start with so we all understand. While this is quite a large board, the majority of the game takes place in this center square. Within the center square, there are a couple of rules. It's basically an action selection process. So on your turn, you'll move your meeple to another square, and there's a few rules that surround that. So the first one is that you can move to anything that is adjacent to where you currently are for free. You can't stay where you are, but you can move to anywhere adjacent to you, and that's diagonally adjacent as well as next to it. So on your first move, because everyone starts in the middle, you can move to absolutely any square you wish. If you wish to do something other than just move to an adjacent space, you're going to have to pay a tax for it. And the tax is 1 money. So if I wish to move from here to here, I would pay 1 money to the bank. If I wish to move from here to here, I'd pay 1 money to the bank for that jumping over spaces, not moving to adjacent spots. But I would then also pay 1 money to the other player because I've landed where they are standing. So any other players in a space where you go, you're going to have to give them 1 money. Now, if you move to here where the tax marker is, you will pay the bank 1 extra money. So if you jump there, it will cost you the 1 for jumping plus the 1 to the tax. Once you've moved to a location, you're going to action it. So let's really quickly go through the actions. I'll see if I can get through this as quickly as possible. The top corner and the bottom corner are actually the same thing. They involve purchasing new vineyards, and you can purchase vineyards from any region. When you do, you're going to put it onto the next space along, and you'll get the bonus that goes with it. I won't go through the iconography. I think it's going to make the video too long, but it is straightforward once you know what it means. Basically, if there's a picture of something, you're going to gain that. If there's something crossed out, then you can't use that. These ones are a little bit different. When you take one from this region, so say I purchased one from here, it'll cost me 5 money because I went there, 5 money. I will also take 2 of these tokens. Now what they are is when I produce wine, I'm able to select to either produce a Porto wine or a non-Porto wine. If I produce Porto, I'll spend that token and the value of the wine that I've produced will be 3 points higher. And I'll talk about how to work that out in a moment. When I'm here, I can elect to purchase as many vineyards as I wish. If I'm in this space, I can purchase 1 or 2 cellars. They'll cost me 3 monies each. So say I purchase 2 cellars because I've got 2 wineries. There's 6 monies, 2 cellars. You'll notice with each wine produced, I'm putting it on the leftmost space. So when I have a cellar, that enables me to age my wines up to this end. If I don't have a cellar, I'm only going to be able to age 1 extra year before I have to get rid of it. And once again, I'll talk about aging of wines in a little while. And that also makes the older wines more valuable with a cellar as well. So if you get up to this space, you've got a +5 on the value of the wine. Once again, that's future information that I will get to, I promise. The next one is you can purchase a winery. When you purchase a winery, it's going to cost you 3 money. You can do it twice. So I might do that. That'll cost me 3 money for each of them, so 6 money out. Coming down to this next spot, that's where I'm going to be able to purchase farmers or enologists. The farmers can only come in on your vineyards. Enologists can only come in on your wineries. So I might purchase 2 enologists there. They're worth 3 money each. That one's the same as the top corner. And I'll just pull up here for the moment because what I'm about to step onto, these 2 spots are pretty close on the same as each other, and they require you to work out the value of your wine. So the value of your wine is the number that you have here plus whatever the cellaring of that wine is. So at the moment I've got a value 4 wine. So if I wish to sell, which is the one I've just stepped onto, I would sell one of my barrels. It's a red wine, so it would sell into the value 4 space, and I would lose that token, but I would take in 4 monies for that sale. Now I only start the game with 2 barrels. Each round this token or the tax marker will move along one. So everyone takes 1 turn, this marker moves along 1. Everyone takes another turn, this marker moves along 1. When it gets to that spot, which is the B spot, everyone's allowed to take 1 barrel back from a location in that area. The next spot we get to is the aging of the wines. So let's put that wine back in that I started with. So say I hadn't sold that. At this point, I'd move this marker along 1, and then I would grow more wine in each of the vineyards. So the value now is 2 for the winery itself, or for the vineyard itself, should I say, plus 1 for the farmer, which is 3, plus 1 for each winery, plus another 2 for each enologist. So I've actually got 9 value in my winery just there. However, there is also this weather card. The weather card has a lot of information on it. All we're really worried about is this piece here, which is a +2, which means everyone gets +2 on every wine they produce in this year. The stuff down the bottom here, that is for near the end of each wine fair, which I'll get to in a second, and that will come into play on that as well. So you don't need to worry about those bits for the moment, just that top number, +2. So if I've got a value 9 wine, but I've got a +2, it means I'm actually going to produce a wine that is value 11. Now over here, I'm producing a value 2 wine, +2, so it's actually going to be a value 4. But I could elect to use that Porto to add another 3 to it, and so suddenly I'm creating a value 7 wine. Then at the end of the year, that marker goes across, that tile comes off, and we flip over the next tile. And that will show us, once again, what the weather is going to do for us next year and what's possibly available in the fair when that comes up. So the next one round is very similar to selling the wine. This is exporting the wine. With exporting the wine, we're using this space here. If you're on a 2-player game, you don't get any of this outside line. To export the wine, you're looking along your line here for your value. So I've got a value 3 plus 1, which is value 4. I've got an 11 plus 1, which is 12. And I've got a 7 plus 1, which is 8. And you're going to select one of these markers. So I might select that value 8 wine. Now what I could also do, and you can do this when you're selling the wines as well, is that's from this region up here. We added 1 region token when we built that. We should have added 1 more region token when we added the cellar to that space, just as we should have added 2 more region tokens when we added those 2 vineyards onto the number 6, Lisbar? Number 5, should I say? My eyes don't work. Onto the number 5. Okay, we're back up to date now. So what I could do, instead of using that as a value 8, I could take 1 or 2 of those renown tokens, and suddenly that has become a value 10. Now what happens here, you'll notice there's some numbers in purple at the top. Anything that's in purple is points at the end of the game. Anything that's in green, so there's not a whole bunch in green, there's some green just there, is points that will happen automatically straight away whenever that is action. With this area here, you're going to get 10 points if you hold the majority in the column. So at the moment, yellow's getting that 10 points. If, however, blue manages to come in and get 2 barrels going off to the same location, blue's going to get the 10 points instead of yellow. Once barrels are on that space, they're not going to be able to be brought back into your own board, only from the sale. Moving up to the next spot, this is where we get some wine experts. You can purchase 1 or 2 wine experts. These guys are the wine experts. They cost 1 money each to purchase them. What do wine experts do? Well, they have 2 purposes to them. Firstly is something that you can use between each wine fair. There are 3 wine fairs. So at the end of each wine fair, any wine expert that's been used for their special skill, which is in the top area, they use it, they spin it over, the wine fair finishes, we spin it back over. That is then available again. So what are these icons? I'll shoot through them real quick. This icon means that you can move in this area once without paying the tax. This one means that when you're purchasing new vineyards, you can go through the stack and change the order so that you can get red wine instead of white wine, or you might be able to get two of the same color in a row if that's what you wish to do. This one gives you 2 monies straight away. This one lets you take a barrel back without having to wait for the end of the round, the cleanup bit. This one allows you to add 1 renown cube to any region that you wish. And this one allows you to purchase a vineyard for 1 money less. So he may purchase 2 of those guys for 2 monies, and they just sit on the side of his board, visible to everyone so that they can be used later on. The last spot, this middle spot, you do not have to pay a tax on the middle spot. You won't have to pay any other players if you land there while they're there. If you can do nothing else, you go to the middle spot and pass, and you do nothing. The other thing you can do is issue a press release. When you issue a press release, you are selecting one of your wines to send off to the wine fair. I would be selecting this 11 plus 1, so that's a level 12 red wine to go to the wine fair. It's from region 5. It's level 12, so my token goes straight along to the 12 points. I then select one of the 4 booths or bonuses that I'm going to get, and let's say I go to here. That means I get to select 1 more of these. I might take that one. If I went there, I'd get 3 money. If I went there, I'd get 3 more points on that track. I then get to play any of my expert tiles, and I'm going to actually get rid of the expert tiles if I play them to get these points. Now, the next spot that this card comes in is here. What this is saying, I can play 2 of the green experts and I can play 1 of the yellow experts to get extra points. So I could choose to play all 3 of these experts to get 3 extra points. This marking on the expert also means I get 1 extra point. So by playing all 3 of these, I would get 4 more points on the fair track. 1, 2, 3, 4. I can then get some barrels. You'll notice there are barrels at the top here. I can get barrels according to what has been played here. So I've played a red wine, which means I can take 1 of the barrels from the top. I've played a value 12 wine, so it's higher than 8, which means I can take 1 from the middle. And I played a wine that comes from region 5, which is marked just there, so I would be able to take 1 from there. So I'm allowed to take a maximum of 2 barrels, but they can come from anywhere. So I would probably take those 2. They come down, so suddenly I have 4 barrels to play with, which makes it easy to sell things and export wines as well. Now notice I did that during my 2nd year. When this gets to the 3rd year, a new one's going to be turned over, which will have different information on it. So it's best to go and do your press release when the wine magnates are looking for specific things, or when these experts are the ones that are really wanted, because they're going to get you the most points. When you do get to the end of that first line, so the end of the 3rd year, it also happens at the end of the 5th year and the end of the 6th year. There are only 6 years in the game. Anyone who hasn't yet done a press release will go through that process that I just went through. The player who's furthest ahead on this track will gain points according to which fair it is, and the further down the game we go, the higher the points are. So at this point, yellow would get 9 points and blue would get 3 because I'm on a 2-player game. If I was on a 3 or 4-player game, then there's points for 1st, 2nd and 3rd. Those markers do not move. So when we go into the 2nd fair, yellow is starting substantially further ahead than blue is. So blue's going to have to work really hard to get ahead of yellow in that case if he wishes to catch up and get ahead with those points from the fair. Once that has happened, as everyone's taken their barrels down and the fair has all finished up, the player order changes according to what's happening here. So yellow will become the first player. Well, yellow was there, he came and took that. So when we took those booths, so yellow becomes first player, blue second player, stays in the same order. And then we're able to purchase any of these bonus points, bonus action tiles, and they will cost 1 wine each. So basically yellow can spend that wine to take 1 of these tiles, and I'm not going to go into that iconography, it's on the back of the rulebook and you can look that up. But he can take that, and if he puts that there, that'll give him 1 bonus action whenever he wishes to use it. I think that I've managed to cover the entire game with that Gamesplaination. I hope this helps you get Vinhos 2016 to the table. I hope this gives you a better idea of the rules. Please go on and watch my Gamesplayed video to get an idea of how the game actually plays. If you have any comments or suggestions, please write them below. If you have any games that you wish to be Gamesplayed, please shoot me an email at thegamesplainer@gmail.com. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at @thegamesplainer to see what games I've been playing. Check out my blog, thegamesplainer.wordpress.com to read about my adventures in gaming each week. Subscribe to my videos to keep up to date with the games that I'm gamesplaining, and until next time, enjoy gaming.